There's nothing better than showing up to your next big event in a new suit or tuxedo. Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop on Clovis Avenue, just south of Old Town Clovis, has provided a wide selection of custom-tailored fine suits and accessories for over 25 years. Right now, get 2 suits, 2 shirts, 2 ties, and a pair of shoes for only $199. Act now and get a 3rd suit for only $50 more. Stop by or call 559-298-6063 to schedule your fitting today at Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this special taped edition of Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno, Comcast Channel 375, 13.1, 43.6 over the air. Sorry, no phone calls on this day, but today we'll have a special program on the passing of the one legendary Arnold Palmer. We'll be back with our program in just a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
Back here on the program, of course, no phone calls on this day. It is a special taped edition of Connect with Me, and today we're talking about the life, the legacy, and the legend of the one great, the one and only Arnold Palmer. This man transcended the game of golf. He may not have been the greatest golfer of all time, although he had 7 majors under his belt. He won 62 golf tournaments during the course of his lifetime. He passed just recently at the age of 87. His ashes scattered along the Latrobe Country Club, where his parents, their ashes were scattered as well. A special private ceremony was held recently, and a public ceremony to be held at Latrobe as well. You know, I had a chance to meet Arnold Palmer one time. We'll talk about that during the course of the program with our special guest here in just a few moments. But I want to talk about Arnold Palmer, the man and the legend. You know, he sprung upon us back in the 50s, the mid to late 50s, when television was just exploding, and he was just exploding with his career. So the two meshed together. He was a major superstar, and he was the first athlete to be used by a major corporation as a spokesperson, the very first one. As a matter of fact, remember that Hertz commercial that he did with O.J. Simpson? Arnold Palmer was the man. He was a golfer, he was an athlete, he was a human being, and he was a major spokesman for major corporations across this country. There was none before him like Arnold Palmer, and who knows if there will ever be any like him in the future. And the players that are playing today can thank Arnold Palmer for all the money that they're making on tour, including Tiger Woods. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, those were the 3 names, the big names back in the 50s and 60s, the rivalry when Jack Nicklaus, he basically came upon the scene at the tender age of 22 back in 1962. And boy, I'll tell you what, it was a rivalry like no other in sport. Here's a look back at the life of Arnold Palmer.
Arnold Palmer passed away earlier tonight at UPMC Shadyside Hospital. He learned the game of golf on the courses of Westmoreland County, but his impact and his legacy go well beyond the game of golf. 62 PGA Tour victories, 50 consecutive Masters appearances, and 4 green jackets. First player to win $1 million playing professional golf. Those are numbers, but that is not the measure of this man.
You know, I lived in a steel town, so it was natural. And of course, I played football with the guys that their fathers were working in the steel mill. And
whether here at home or at Augusta National, Arnold Palmer was easygoing, plain-spoken, and humble.
Arnold Palmer, what does he think of his prospects of winning the Masters this year?
Well, from tee to green, I feel pretty good about my game. I have had a little trouble with my putting. Let's say that we're hoping that that's just temporary. And
traits he learned from his father.
what he taught me was manners, to be polite, and to treat other people like I would like to be treated. And he drove that home.
His common touch was on display when he spoke with WTAE. Whether discussing his plans for Augusta with Ed Conway in the 1960s,
After April, and of course early in April at the Masters, that's one of my big weeks, as you know. It's the first tournament of the Big Four, and I would certainly like to do some good there.
or taking Sally Wiggin around his Latrobe office 40 years later.
Have you met every president since you started playing?
Well, pretty much so, yeah. Starting with Ike and coming right up through the years.
Presidents played with him. World leaders honored him. But he was the king. And everyone stood up and applauded as he walked the fairways as his competitive career wound down. All the while, Palmer always considered himself just a kid from Latrobe. But he made a difference that went well beyond Westmoreland County, recognized and celebrated by millions.
When you walk up the 18th and you get an ovation like that, I guess that says it all.
As for his legacy, like the man himself, Palmer only wanted to accomplish one thing.
If I can teach them to leave the game better when they leave than they found it when they arrived, then I've been successful.
Live in our studio now to talk about Arnold Palmer and the legacy is Jim Perez. He is the owner of Bluff Point Golf Course out there in Northwest Fresno. And I got to tell you, it should be a very interesting program today. We'll also talk about his golf course in Northwest Fresno, in addition to Arnold Palmer, the passing of the legend. And, you know, it really was a sad time when Arnold Palmer recently passed away at the age of 87, loved and beloved by every person he met and touched. No phone calls on this day, a special tape program sponsored by Sam's Suits and Tuxedos out of Clovis. Back in just a moment.
There's nothing better than showing up to your next big event in a new suit or tuxedo. Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop on Clovis Avenue, just south of Old Town Clovis, has provided a wide selection of custom-tailored fine suits and accessories for over 25 years. Right now, get 2 suits, 2 shirts, 2 ties, and a pair of shoes for only $199. Act now and get a third suit for only $50 more. Stop by or call 559-298-6063 to schedule your fitting today at Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop.
The Ballad of Andy and Barney. Andy and Barney were lawmen, bravest you ever did see. Warned every crook in the record book to stay out of Mayberry. They were the law.
Yes, they were the law,
and they didn't know fear.
The Andy Griffith Show.
I guess to sum it up, you could say there's 3 reasons why there's so little crime in Mayberry. There's Andy, and there's me, and baby makes 3.
Now on MeTV Fresno.
Today we're talking about Arnold Palmer, the one and only. Jim Perez is here from Bluff Point Golf Course out of Northwest Fresno. Good to see you, Jim.
Hi, John.
How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Good to see you.
Yeah. Did you shed a tear or two when Arnold passed?
Oh, it's pretty sad. I mean, watching him and, you know, everything he did, what he stood for, how he carried himself, you know, if every man could do that, we wouldn't have any problems.
Yeah,
period.
He certainly was a legend. But how do you think that he was perceived beyond the world of golf? He wasn't just a sports figure. You know, this guy wasn't just an athlete. He transcended the game, yes, but he crossed the line and went beyond that.
Well, you know, as a outside of, you know, the game, he was the Pennzoil spokesman. Remember that?
And
I think that was first, though. I think the Pennzoil was first because I believe he was shooting those in the 50s. And I don't know if he had Hearst right away, but yeah, he was a phenomenal man, businessman. I love the story about when they were trying to find a logo for Arnold Palmer Enterprise. I don't know if you heard that story or not.
I didn't.
It was very simple. Everything is about it is how happenstance, you know, comes about. And so what happens is they're having a big meeting in their corporate office, you know, with APE, right? Arnold Palmer Enterprises, and nobody can figure out a logo for the company. So he says, let me take a break. I'm going to walk outside. And he was probably smoking still at that time, probably. But he dropped it. And he walks outside and it's raining and he sees this lady open up this umbrella. And that became the logo for the company. He watched this lady step out of a car, raining, that particular one, and you know which one I'm talking. It's a multicolor umbrella. So right away, his attorneys got involved, and boom, sure enough, that became his logo.
Wow.
And they sold the heck out of those umbrellas. Believe it or not, maybe not so much in the United States, but in China, Japan, everybody wanted an Arnold Palmer umbrella, believe it or not.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff. Hey, I do want to roll a piece of videotape, and it's called Arnold Palmer #1. This one does not have any sound on it. We're just going to kind of take a look at the Arnold Palmer golf swing here. Go ahead and talk about what we're looking at. Look at that.
Well, he had a very unique swing. Because if you look at his finish, every time you see his finish, it looks abbreviated and cut off right there. You see that?
Yeah.
With that high flying elbow. But he could direct that ball right where he wanted to go. I love when some of the characters they try to emulate his golf swing, and it's the funniest thing to watch.
You mean by computer?
No, live. They do this live.
They do.
Other
Okay.
golfers,
All right. Other golfers try
other pros.
They try to copy him. Yeah.
Yes. And nobody could really copy that right there.
Man,
he had a
look at his
flying
neck.
elbow.
He's kind of,
and
turning
he's
his
always,
neck.
he would always use that neck turn. Always. It was funny.
But so what made him, aside from, let's just talk about strictly his golf game.
Okay.
What made him a great golfer? He was well above average, probably one of the greatest, not the greatest, but one of. What made him so great?
You know, he wasn't a phenomenal player, but I'm going to tell you what he was. He practiced hard. And when you practice hard, sooner or later you get lucky. That's what they say. All the good players say they get lucky.
Are you saying Arnold Palmer was lucky?
Yes, very lucky.
Come on.
No, I'm serious.
He was also unlucky. You know, he blew a 7-shot lead at the Olympic Club at the U.S. Open against Billy Casper, I believe, was it?
Yeah.
Forget what year that
That's
was, back
right.
in the 60s.
They've all done it. They've all done it.
How do you blow a 7-shot lead with 9 to go?
You know, Greg Norman did it. And the back 9, he's leading by 5 or 6, and you think he's going to come out and win it, and he loses also. So, you know, part of it, and that was what was gracious about him. He was very gracious about his losses. He always knew that somebody was going to be winning, whether it's him or someone else, but he was gracious in his loss, and that is hard to do.
Let me ask you something about the rivalry. You know, there was kind of a 3-way rivalry, but mostly it was against Jack Nicklaus. It was Arnold versus Jack. Jack sprung onto the scene in, I believe, 1962, and he was like 21, 22 years old. He was kind of overweight at the time, and Nicklaus was kind of a better golfer than he was.
Well, you know, I don't know if people know this story. When Jack Nicklaus came on,
you got time. Don't worry.
When Jack Nicklaus came on the scene and started playing and beating Arnie, he was getting death threats.
Jack Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus was getting death threats out there. Are you kidding me? But why? Because Arnold Palmer's the best golfer. Because
back in the
everybody
60s,
loved Arnold.
He was getting death threats in the 60s.
Yes. He was getting death threats, and he talks about it. Jack Nicklaus talks about it. You know, and he had police walking the fairways, which was also very rare. You didn't have stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, back then the police officers were not in the fairways. Now you see them, the Secret Service and all that.
Well, maybe they were trying to get into Nicklaus's head, and those threats were not real.
Yeah, well, they were like those fake bomb scares that people do and things like that.
Yeah.
They're just trying to scare, and that's all that happened.
They were
That's
trying
all
to play with his mind to
Yeah.
mess up his game.
Absolutely, that's what it's.
But it didn't work.
No, it didn't.
It didn't work.
No, it didn't.
But you have the other factor in Gary Player, the South African. You throw him into the mix, and so these 3 will kind of be linked forever, will they not?
You know they will, and all 3 of them have a distinct, different golf swing. That's exactly what's happening now. But those 3 will be linked forever, and you know all of them are great. Jack Nicklaus, you know his legacy is phenomenal. Arnold Palmer, of course, you know we already know he was probably the kindest man, always saying the right things, and that's not easy to do, especially when you lose a tournament. And then Gary Player. Gary Player is a little tiny little guy, and he always talks about he's the lightest golfer that ever played against Arnold Palmer and beat him. And he was so gracious to him after a win.
Yeah.
That's what's amazing. It's not easy to do.
I do want to play a little interview with Jack Nicklaus, who recently gave an interview to a local television station, I believe. I don't know if it was in Pennsylvania or Ohio, but Jack Nicklaus was interviewed, and they asked him about the passing of Arnold Palmer. The Jack Nicklaus interview shortly after Arnold Palmer passed away at the age of 87. Here are Jack's comments.
Yeah, it was really one of the great rivalries of all time.
Well, we like to think it was. I guess I think that Arnold and I, many times, we'd be in a golf tournament, be in contention in the golf tournament. We'd be playing together, and one of us would shoot 73 and the other one would shoot 74. We walk off and he says, well, I got you today. Well, while the rest of the field just passed us. We didn't really care whether the rest of the field passed us out. We wanted to beat each other. And we've been that way all our lives, but yet then we'd finish the round, we'd shake hands, go have dinner together. Well, I think it's the legacy of the game of golf is he's the guy who popularized the game. He's the guy who moved forward. He led his life the right way. He was a stickler for dress codes and clean faces and short hair, and he was pretty much the old school. He loved the traditions of the game. He loved the traditions of how you're supposed to handle yourself and how you're supposed to represent yourself in the game. I think the best memories are memories of the two of us and just being friends, having each other's back, supporting each other in a variety of different ways. I spoke to him about 2 weeks ago on his birthday. I used to always call him on his birthday, and that was September 10th, and he sounded great. And I said, how you doing? He said, I'm doing good. He said, I'm coming back. He said, I'm starting to hit some golf balls again. And I don't know whether he was or not, but that's what he said. We talked a little bit. I thought he was doing great. I was really, he was a lot better than he was at Augusta this year. The Augusta this year, he didn't look very good, and we were worried about him. And then he started sounding better. You hate to lose a friend, and you hate to lose any kind of a good friend. But I sort of look back and remember the good times we had. We're both getting pretty old, and I think that we had a lot of good times, a lot of good things that we did together, a lot of great competitions, and a lot of great times together with our wives, and that's the things you remember.
Jack Nicklaus, of course, 10 years younger than Arnold Palmer, but he's getting up there in years too. He still plays the game, obviously. He plays it well. He teed off at the Masters, the first hole, the traditional first hole, obviously. But, these three players, specifically Arnold, 4 green jackets, he'll forever be linked and tied. I mean, as tight as a knot can get with the Masters. Why?
Well, first of all, to win one Masters is so difficult. For him to have 4, he probably had a chance to win 6, 7, or 8, and maybe lost by a stroke or 2.
Yeah.
So, winning the Masters is like hitting the lotto for the golf pros. For the guys
bigger
on
than the
tour,
U.S. Open?
I think so. Yeah. It has to be. I know that's our big event, just like the British Open is. They say you're the golfer of the year. But I think, winning the Masters is it. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even had dreams of winning the Masters. Okay.
Yeah.
I literally.
And then you wake up.
Well, no, I did.
And then you wake up.
I did wake up. It was a dream. Like I said, it was a dream.
And then you wake up and you were depressed because it wasn't real.
4th place. I didn't win it, but I took 4th, and it was great.
How long did that depression last afterwards? About a day or so?
No, it didn't last. No, because reality sets in, and okay, I'm at Bluff Point Golf Course.
All right, we're talking with the one and only Jim Perez, our friend here on Connect With Me on MeTV Fresno. A taped edition talking about the passing of Arnold Palmer, 87 years old just recently. Today's program sponsored by Sam's Suits and Tuxedos out of Clovis. Back in a moment.
There's nothing better than showing up to your next big event in a new suit or tuxedo. Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop on Clovis Avenue, just south of Old Town Clovis, has provided a wide selection of custom-tailored fine suits and accessories for over 25 years. Right now, get 2 suits, 2 shirts, 2 ties, and a pair of shoes for only $199. Act now and get a 3rd suit for only $50 more. Stop by or call 559-298-6063 to schedule your fitting today at Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop.
most watched news channel in Europe.
Back here on the program, you know, it is sad, the passing. Of course, we all know how life works. We're not going to live forever.
Right.
Should we be sad, unhappy, distraught, or should we be celebrating the life of Arnold Palmer and be smiling as to what kind of big, huge gift he gave us?
Wow, that's tough. When someone died, you know, I had to speak on the death one time in front of a big crowd.
Yeah.
And I said that it's part of life. Unfortunately, you're all going there. We're all going there.
So
We're
having
headed-
said that, should we be smiling and celebrating what Arnold Palmer gave us all these years?
I would say that all the athletes that really have taken advantage of what he's left them, the ability to make the money that those people are making is astronomical. He started the first, you know, advertising for companies and so on and so forth. But
he was the first. Think about how many athletes through the generations have made headlines. Some of the greatest athletes in the world, just dating back just to the 40s until now.
Right.
He was the first athlete to be a spokesman for a major corporation,
Yeah.
Arnold Palmer. Not Michael Jordan, not anybody else, Arnold Palmer.
And the guy who represented him was his friend at Wake Forest, I believe. He went to college.
Yeah.
They were buddies. They played
Yeah.
golf together. They were friends.
Yeah.
And from that point on, nobody had really done this type of work. And then all of a sudden, his best friend, I believe his last name is McCormick, who took over the reins of the company, his company. But
That was his agent.
It was
He
his
had a
agent, right?
Handshake deal,
Right.
no
handshake-
contract.
Exactly. Didn't need it. And that's the other thing about his life. That's the way he was. All you needed was a handshake from him, and that was good enough. Now, you better write a contract.
Let me ask you something. Jack Nicklaus, in that interview that we played just a few moments ago, said that Arnold Palmer popularized the game. What did he mean by that?
Well, he was flashy. He dressed well. He looked sharp. He looked like a movie star, actually, when he was young.
Yeah.
And when you see him walk out and everybody tries to emulate
Swagger,
him.
the
Well, he
swagger.
has a swagger, but he would always just kind of put his hands on his hip and just touch the belt, and everybody was copying him. It was like a marked, sign.
Nicklaus also said that Arnold Palmer played the game the right way. What's the right way to play the game?
I think, well, first of all, it's following the rules. He took advantage of, well, actually, he didn't really take advantage. What he did was he gave the advantage to the people who are watching. He went over, talked to them, took pictures with them during rounds. Like, are you crazy? What's wrong with you? But he would. He was the kind guy. And then he would hang around and give autographs to everybody.
And he never turned anyone down, did he?
No, that's what I'm saying. Arnold Palmer was one of those exceptional guys.
Yeah.
There are some guys following a little bit in their footsteps, but you very rarely heard anything smart remark out of Arnold Palmer.
All right. And Nicklaus also said during that interview that, and maybe you can expand on this because we have time, don't worry about it. He respected the traditions of the game. And the traditions of the game are what?
Well, a lot of the traditions are going away, unfortunately. Like he said, he liked the kind of clean-cut look that golf was offering for a long time. They basically handshakes every time you take, after a round, you're handshaking, you exchange your scorecards, the value of the rules, and that is tradition. A lot of the rules are thrown out the door now, and they're saying to make the golf more fun, throw the rules out. So he was a traditionalist that way.
Now I got to say this because I don't think Tiger Woods is the greatest player in the world today. He's not. He's had a lot of problems with injuries. That highly publicized divorce, as you know, kind of played a head game with him a little bit. And golf is a head game, as you well know. But I did hear an interview with Tiger Woods, and this says a lot because he's still a great golfer. I'm not taking anything away from Tiger Woods. Believe me, okay? Believe me, I wish I could play like him. But to play at that level, but here's a testament to Arnold Palmer. Tiger Woods said just recently, he said, whenever he had a question, a serious question, you know who he would reach out to? He would call Arnold Palmer.
You know, I loved the fact that when Tiger Woods played Arnie's tournament, he won it a few times.
I know.
The arm embrace that Arnold Palmer gave Tiger Woods, it was like, you're my son, you're my best friend, you're the, so yeah.
But in respect, but the fact that Tiger would call him if he had a question, he needed advice.
Yes.
That shows that Tiger had a lot of respect for him, despite that generational gap.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You could see it. I mean, they loved each other.
I think Tiger admired him.
Yeah, of course. I think we all have admired him and what he's done. But Tiger definitely, with all his shortcomings and everything that happened.
Well, we all have shortcomings.
Yeah, right. But he came back and he was asking the best man that he knew, would Arnold Palmer.
He didn't call Gary Player. He didn't call Jack Nicklaus.
No.
He called Arnold Palmer.
And that's why they called him the king.
The king.
The king.
The
he
king.
was the king.
The
Yes.
king. And so, and I'll bet Tiger wasn't the only one who called him. I'll bet. I don't know who else, but I'll bet my bottom dollar other players on the tour called him.
Yeah, I've heard Ricky Fowler goes over there, asks advice. Mickelson goes and asks for advice. So
and they call him Mr. Palmer.
Yeah, out of respect, buddy. Out of respect.
All right, I want to run another piece of videotape on Arnold Palmer. Can't get enough of this stuff, and it's called The Magic of Arnold. You'll hear the sound, you'll look at the video, and you'll wonder to yourself, man, did this guy really die? Is he gone? Let's take a look and a listen.
Few could have imagined the impact a young man from Latrobe, Pennsylvania would have on the game of golf. His swashbuckling style not only won tournaments, but the hearts of many worldwide. His hard work, sportsmanship, philanthropy, and dedication became the standard by which today's PGA Tour players conduct themselves. Arnold Palmer was king of the sport, a moniker that he himself had often said was too lofty a stature. Nevertheless, he carried himself in royal fashion, and his impact on the game of golf will last for generations to come. Arnold Palmer developed his style on his home course, where his father Deacon was the head professional and greenskeeper. He attended Wake Forest University on a golf scholarship, but briefly gave up the game his senior year to enlist in the U.S. Coast Guard, where he served 3 years. Upon returning, he picked up the game right where he left off and won the 1954 United States Amateur. He decided to give professional golf a try and won his first PGA Tour title his rookie year at the 1955 Canadian Open. Between his first PGA Tour victory at the age of 25 and his last win in 1973 at the age of 43, Palmer collected 62 PGA Tour titles and 7 majors. He personified the American spirit, becoming the first true superstar of the television age, and single-handedly took golf out of the country clubs and into our living rooms. It was that popularity that made the Arnold Palmer Invitational presented by MasterCard one of the premier events on the PGA Tour. Off the golf course, Arnold Palmer was perhaps the single most recognizable athlete on television and the big screen.
Pardon me, have you seen a ball? Oh, there it is. Pretty tough fly.
And was the first to capitalize on his image. As a corporate spokesperson, Palmer fused a spotless personal reputation with a charming, relatable spirit that had captivated those on Madison Avenue since the 1960s. He was a patriot and served as golf's ambassador to the White House. His golf course design company produced more than 200 courses worldwide. After conquering the advertising and business worlds, Palmer turned his attention to the television medium. As a co-founder of Golf Channel, he oversaw its unprecedented growth and impact on the sports landscape. Palmer's true legacy was the impact he had on the lives of others, and no other person in the history of professional sports left as indelible a mark. In the 1980s, he established the Arnold Palmer Hospital for Children and Women, and subsequently the Arnold Palmer Medical Center in Orlando. But he didn't stop there. Palmer built centers for cancer treatment in California and in his hometown of Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Arnold Palmer was one of those rare athletes, one of those rare human beings who come along once in a lifetime. He received countless awards in business and golf and was a charter member of the World Golf Hall of Fame. In 2004, the sporting legend was honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President George W. Bush. And in 2012, he became only the 6th athlete to receive the Congressional Gold Medal.
I hope that I can thank you properly and tell you how much it means to me to be here, to accept this award. I am very humbled. Thank you very much.
Those lucky enough to have witnessed his greatness will speak to his graciousness and a legacy that will inspire for generations to come. Arnold Palmer, a trailblazer, a philanthropist, a king.
Hard to believe that he's gone. It kind of brings a tear to your eye a little bit just to see that, how he transcended the game of golf, but he went far beyond that line and touched so many lives of people across the country and people across the world, and creating those children's hospitals, Kids for Cancer here in California. Tragic loss, I think.
Yeah, you know, John Boehner, when they gave that award to him, he said that he could not contain himself. Yeah, that he just bawled.
Arnold did. Arnold.
No.
Oh, John Boehner.
John Boehner.
John Boehner did.
Giving
okay.
him that award.
Yeah.
When he received that award, and they did a great thing for him. They put a bunch of stuff together and put in the World Hall of Fame of Golf Hall of Fame. And at the very beginning here, you see this when he throws that visor, that famous toss.
Yeah, that was after what tournament?
It was in the, I think it was at the Masters or the U.S. Open. I
What's
believe
the story
it was the
about
U.S.
that,
Open.
real quick?
So real quick, there's this little boy. He's sitting there watching, and he sees the hat like 10 feet away, and an adult says to him, "Go pick that up." So he goes and gets it, and then Arnold signed it for him after the tournament. It had sweat. It was, So then it goes, the World Hall of Fame now, 40 years later, 50 years later, they call him and ask him to come and bring it. He goes, well, the only way I'll bring it is if Arnie's going to be there and I can give it back to him personally. So they flew him back, and he actually got to have dinner with Arnold Palmer and give the hat back, take a picture together, and they put it in the World Hall of Fame.
That hat.
That
as a little boy, he picked up that hat and kept it all those years.
All those years.
Signed.
Yep. Gave
that
it back.
Is an amazing. I wonder how old he was as a young boy
well,
at that time.
I think the kid who, the gentleman
at the time
had to be now like 70 or 60 or something like that. Because Arnold Palmer was only
87,
well, he was probably only 20 something at that time. Remember?
So maybe he was half of Arnold's age, or less.
Yeah, he was like a 10-year-old boy, if I'm not mistaken. Something
isn't
like
that what an
great
amazing story?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Jim Perez is here. He is the owner of Bluff Point Golf Course out at Northwest Fresno, so get out there and see it. We'll show you some video of his golf course here in just a few moments. Sam Suits and Tuxedos out of Clovis is our sponsor today. No phone calls, a special tape program here on Connect with Me.
There's nothing better than showing up to your next big event in a new suit or tuxedo. Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop on Clovis Avenue, just south of Old Town Clovis, has provided a wide selection of custom-tailored fine suits and accessories for over 25 years. Right now, get 2 suits, 2 shirts, 2 ties, and a pair of shoes for only $199. Act now and get a 3rd suit for only $50 more. Stop by or call 559-298-6063 to schedule your fitting today at Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the KitchenAid appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Save big with KitchenAid. Right now, get up to a $1,000 prepaid MasterCard when you purchase select KitchenAid appliances. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Haven't talked about Arnie's Army. Let's talk a little bit about that and how that formed and generated and really, I think spiraled out of control to a certain point. And Arnie's Army was, it wasn't this huge army that showed up and we visualized this thing, but they were fans in the gallery that just followed him. Is that what it is? That how it worked?
That's exactly right. But Arnie's Army was all over the world. It wasn't just the people who showed up on the golf course.
Okay.
We all belonged to Arnie's Army.
If you were a fan, you were part of it?
You were part of it, yep. I'm telling you. And so you look now, right? You look at let's say Ricky Fowler. So the kids all dress in orange now, to emulate him. But it's nothing like what Arnie had. I mean, everybody wanted to be part of it. They would have Arnie's Army's chairs at the Masters. You were part of his crew.
How do you think that affected Jack Nicklaus in the early going?
Honestly, it's hard to say because I think, Jack Nicklaus was just a phenomenal player of his own, and he was beating Arnie.
How was he able to beat Arnie despite the fact that it was Jack Nicklaus against the world, it seemed?
That's exactly what it was. You were playing against Arnie's Army. I mean,
how did he focus and how did he win?
He said it was difficult. From what look, every good player, when they step onto the tee, they're nervous. I don't care what anybody says, they look calm and all this. No, they don't. Inside, they're nervous. And that was like a double whammy for him because he felt bad. I mean, he won, but he felt bad for the people.
Nicklaus.
Jack Nicklaus did.
But Jack Nicklaus was not a well-liked golfer.
And that's why there was
to say it nicely.
He was just he was a gunslinger, is what they said. He would come out and he would knock them down. That's what whoever was in the way, and it just happened that Arnie was on top.
Yeah,
and
maybe
Jack's
the only way that Nicklaus was able to do it. It's the only thing I can think of is maybe he thought to himself, "Okay, it's me against the world. I'm going to block them out, and I'm moving forward."
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard, but and the cliche is that you take one shot at a time, and literally those guys, that's what they do, one shot at a time.
Yeah. Hey, I want to take you out to your golf course. We're going to change topics here just a little bit because, I think, Arnold popularized the game, back in the 50s and 60s, and it carried over into this generation. And now, of course, with quite a few years ago now, like 15 years ago or more, Tiger Woods kind of repopularized the game, as we all know, because remember back in the day when Tiger was playing, the TV ratings would go through the roof.
Right,
when he wasn't playing in a tournament, they'd go down.
Yeah.
People wanted to see Tiger Woods. And so before we get into the video, how is it now? Because Tiger's not really been on the scene for a while. Is the game still on the rise in terms of popularity?
From what
you work with kids out there.
No, I work with kids, and nobody ever talks about Tiger for the most part. It's only adults. No, because they don't. There's a lot of newcomers. They don't really talk about the new guys.
Okay.
Every once in a while, you'll hear Bubba Watson mentioned because he's a little different, Yeah. But the resurgence of now, they're saying that they're selling out at the first golf tournament that Tiger's coming back on. Okay. So all of us in the golf industry, we want Tiger back because it brings in fresh new faces into the game of golf. So.
But he's not, he's not the same as he was.
No,
he's older, for one.
Yeah.
What else?
That's really probably the only thing. He did relax for a year. He tried to come back too soon from injuries.
Was it back or what was it?
He's had like 4 or 5 surgeries now
on his back,
knees, Achilles, I believe. So there's quite a bit going on there with his surgeries. But they say he's in great shape right now. The best shape that he's been in for a long time.
But Jim, golf is a mental game. You can be in the greatest physical shape, but man, if your head isn't right, it's over.
Yes,
It's over.
And we saw that kind of happen to him after the accidents and things that he's had.
I mean, before we get into the video, because I want to ask you, why is it, and I'm going to prove my point that it's a mental game, because I will go out and play, and I played a few weeks ago in a 18-hole tournament. You stand over the ball, at least I do, and you have all these thoughts going through your head. Okay, I'm supposed to be doing this. I'm supposed to be doing that. Okay, is my left arm here? Is my right? Okay, is everything okay at home? What are my kids doing?
Yeah.
I have all these thoughts going through.
Trouble,
okay, I'm hosed. I'm hosed.
You're done.
So when a professional golfer like a Tiger or a Nicklaus or any of these guys, these great golfers of today, when they stand over the ball, what are they thinking?
When is this over? No, they're, you know.
Do all of those thoughts get out of their head?
Never. But what they can fall back on is a repetition that they've done. They know they can hit it great. They've already done it before. So you have to have a positive attitude, because if you think negative, guess what's going to happen? You're going to miss the ball. You're not, I mean, you won't miss it, but you're not going to hit it well.
Arnold was a quick player, wasn't he?
He was very fast.
Nicklaus was slow, because Nicklaus would labor over the ball. But I used to watch Arnie. He'd go up and boom, he'd hit it.
Yeah, just get up and hit.
Just get up and hit. Don't think.
Don't think so much.
Okay.
You know, I only have one swing thought when I play golf. You
What's
know what
that?
it is?
Don't screw up?
No. If I'm thinking of that, I'm done. But no, what I think of is square the club face. That's all I want to do is square the club face, because I know my swing plane and path are all good.
You trust your swing.
Yes, I trust my swing. If you watch your swing on video and you swinging with your eyes closed, your swing will look just as good, if not better, than if you're literally thinking about the video, the camera, and everything on you.
All right. So don't think.
Don't think. Yeah,
you know,
that's right.
People have told me that many times over the last 40 years.
Serious.
Don't think, John. Don't think. You'll get hurt.
Step up and hit it, and
all right,
watch what happens.
let's roll a videotape, and it's called Teaching Kids #1. Teaching Kids #1. And you're talking about, I'm not sure exactly what you're talking, but maybe you're chatting about maybe picking the right clubs. You're out at the this is your driving range there, right? At Bluff Point.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little boy right there. So it's, how do you know what the right clubs are for you?
That's the engine of the golf swing. You have to have the right club. In the old days, they didn't have all this stuff where you could take a club head and just screw it onto a shaft.
Mm-hmm.
Look, exactly. There's a good example right there.
They're trying to pick the right club for that young man.
They're picking the right club, the right shaft for the kid.
Yeah.
A lady cannot use a man's club. It's too heavy. The shaft is too thick. It doesn't create the speed that you want. And as well as a child like that right there, he needs a shaft that fits him. And now they make those. U.S. Kids is one of the best that puts these. And you can. This is Manuel Guzman over at my place. He's a custom fitter, and he is putting the right shaft in that kid's hands.
Oh, look at
and
that
that's
swing!
Really
look at that!
important.
Look at that! Yeah.
Very good for a little guy. Super.
Yeah, and so you brought up, before we go to break here, I got to go to break. But so what is the difference? Because we do have women viewers, and that probably go out and play golf. What kind of you said men's clubs are different than women's clubs. What kind of clubs should women be using versus men, and what is the difference?
Well, there's a huge difference. First of all, ladies need to have ladies flex clubs.
What does that mean?
Well, actually, all the shafts have either it's women's flex, regular flex, senior flex, medium flex.
Does that mean the
flex?
Okay, take a look at that. Imagine this is a golf club. So you're talking about the flexibility of the.
If you can bend that right there, right? You can't bend this. This won't bend. So this one's a lot stiffer than that.
Is that what the pros use, a stiff?
Yes, they use an extra stiff or.
So
the
lady should be using an extra flex?
Yeah, they should use. That's what's called a women's flex. And that will bend tremendously. But the reason you want that flex is for the kick at the bottom, so it'll help you lift the ball in the air. Imagine.
So it helps you at impact?
Heck yes. It makes the ball go farther. It makes it go straighter. So that real stiff stiff with a shaft, if a lady hits it, more than likely her golf ball is going to slice so bad, and it won't get in the air, and the ball will go real low. So as you have flex makes the ball go high. You get the maximum distance out of that, and you get your maximum distances. That's what we look at, period. That's what everybody wants, by the way.
So it's as simple as the flex that makes the ball
that's the engine,
go.
We say that's the engine of the golf club.
Well, then why don't pros use flex golf
Well, they
clubs?
do, for them. They have specific flexes for them.
Oh, so they don't necessarily use a stiff shaft.
They can use stiff, X1, which is extra stiff, X1, X2, X3, X4. They go up to, I think the long drive guys are like X5s, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, how do you figure out what your right flex is?
Well, like what Manny had there, he had, you watch television and you'll see the Pro Tracer where you'll see the ball flight go up and down like that. That will tell you how fast your club is coming in at impact. It'll tell you. And that's how they determine where you need to be.
Wow.
So the faster you swing, the extra stiff you have to be.
We got to go to break, I guess, huh? 4-3, oh no, don't call in. I forgot. Tape show, Comcast channel 375, 13.1, 43.6. Jim Perez is here, Bluff Point Golf Course owner out of Northwest Fresno. Sam Suits and Tuxedos out of Clovis is our sponsor. Back in a moment.
There's nothing better than showing up to your next big event in a new suit or tuxedo. Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop on Clovis Avenue, just south of Old Town Clovis, has provided a wide selection of custom-tailored fine suits and accessories for over 25 years. Right now, get 2 suits, 2 shirts, 2 ties, and a pair of shoes for only $199. Act now and get a third suit for only $50 more. Stop by or call 559-298-6063 to schedule your fitting today at Sam's Men's Suits and Tuxedo Shop.
And away we go. Here's the place that makes you smile. Stick around and stay a while. We're the home of great TV. That's memorable. That's me.
Follow me, sir.
Call them classics, call them the best. Call them favorites, be our guest. Every day there's more to come. Watch and see, there's only one. Me TV.
All you have to do is watch me.
Are you kidding me?
Follow me.
That's memorable. That's me. That's me. Me TV.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Back here on the show, Jim Perez is our guest. He's the owner of Bluff Point Golf Course. And Jim, how do they get in touch with you? Because you got a very popular golf course out there, and not only that, you refurbished the place a year or two ago, and it's beautiful out there. I've been out, I go incognito. Nobody knows me. I go out there like on a Sunday and I'll hit some balls and I'll leave. I don't say a word to anybody.
They'll say, there's this weird guy that's coming in.
I know.
He's got a hat on.
Is he stalking us?
Incognito. No, we've done a good job. My workers have done a phenomenal job. We have, in fact, today we have some golf tournaments happening today.
Yeah.
Kids, we have a lot of kids. Fresno Unified has around 5 schools there. Kerman has some schools. We have Madera's coming in. They like our length of our golf course. It's just right.
Yeah. And is that, which one is this one here? Oh, this is Teaching Kids number 2. Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm glad that we rolled this video because it's perfect timing, and I'll tell you why. Because the problem that I had when I played in that golf tournament a few weeks ago is my setup. Now, look at the kid right here. He's setting up. You're teaching him how to set up properly. Talk about how important that is.
Well, setup determines the motion of the swing. If you don't have your setup right, then it's so easy to spot as a coach like me. I've given, over 60,000 lessons. So it's everything. You have to have the grip right, your stance, your posture, the alignment, your ball position. Those are 5 things that constitute a setup. And yet you're not even swinging the club, but that's what makes the club work correctly. So these are important things that you have to have first.
And I had, my ball during the tournament was set up more toward the middle of my stance, which is why I was hitting the ball so low.
Right.
And oftentimes I'd hit like a scuffer.
Yeah,
and
you need, especially with your driver, you really need to have that placed out by your front foot. And front foot is the foot that's closest to the target. So
if you're,
So if you're a right-handed golfer, you put it up by your left foot. If you're a left-handed golfer, it's way up by the right foot.
Yeah, and by the way, why are there not more left-handed golfers like Bubba Watson? Interesting question, huh?
Well,
you ever been asked that before?
I think Bubba is right-handed. There's a lot of opposite hitters out there.
But he hits left-handed.
But way in the past, I know here's what's happened.
No, but Bubba hits left-handed.
Yeah, he does. He hits left-handed and he hits it hard. Jordan Spieth is left-handed, by the way.
And he hits
plays right-handed. Yes.
Wow.
And so is Greg Norman. And so is Ben Hogan. And so is Phil Mickelson. All those are opposite-handed of what they play. So it creates a lot of power, actually, with the lead arm. And that's a big, important thing.
How about, let's roll a videotape called putting. I'm not a bad putter. I can usually putt pretty good. And my chipping is not too bad. Problem is off the tee, and no, putting is okay, but I have a problem off the tee, and I have a problem like in the fairway. If I have to hit a fairway wood, man, I'm in trouble. I cannot hit a fairway wood that well. But here's some putting right here. Putting, is it everything, or is it what's the percentage?
It's a lot. 43% of your score, almost half, is in putting. So yeah, it is important. And now, what's really cool about now is that we have charted greens. We know how it's going to break. We know how fast they're going to be. So all you have to do is know how to read a green. So learning to read a green, probably more important than anything else. Once you know how to read and you make putts, it's really not that hard. It's the easiest part of the game.
Yeah, if you line it up properly, though. That's the thing. And you get the right speed, because not every green has the same speed.
Speed, but that's important. Speed is really important. You walk into the pro shop and you say, what is the speed today? And they'll give you a number. And they'll say it's an 8, a 9, a 10, 11, or a 12. And usually what they say for the Ryder Cup, it's going to be, or will be, 12. So that's really fast. That's what they call tour fast.
And here's the thing about your golf course, and I'm going to mention this. We were watching a family out there putting. Now we're watching some individuals putting. Yeah, there's some of the putt. But prior to that, that was a family out there putting.
Yes.
This is a family-oriented golf course.
Yeah, that's the other thing we wanted to do, is make sure that we had tee boxes for children to have fun. I don't believe, and I've always said this before I even, began to think about or dream about owning my own golf course, is that the average player should not be playing from the regular tees or the blue tees.
Oh.
Blue tees or white tees, the average player should not be playing from.
Where
those.
should they start from?
Way up front.
You're talking about beginners.
I'm talking about beginner to intermediate to older guys to, have fun. The whole idea is to go out and have fun, right? I mean, that's the goal. So we actually have some yellow tees out there that are called the fun tees. So when you get out there and play the fun tees, you're going to make pars and birdies. And isn't that what we're all trying to do?
That's all we're trying to do.
Pars and birdies.
And what are those blue
those are training
pads
aids.
there?
Those are air discs. What they do is they keep you very imbalanced. Now, imbalance creates balance. So you'll notice he's wiggling back and forth. And so all I'm doing is trying to get him to feel when he steps off how balanced he should be. And those pads are like magic. Everybody needs to do this kind of work right here. This is exceptional work.
Yeah. Hey, what's your telephone number out there again?
It's 275-0600.
Okay.
You
don't have to make reservations or anything.
No, and
like
that's the other thing. I've been in the golf business for a lot of years, and I always enjoyed it when I approached a country club. Atmosphere is first come, first serve. And that's what we have there. First come, first serve.
Didn't you try it for the Senior U.S. Open?
I have. I've tried it a couple of times. I've gotten really close. I've led, for 9 holes and then not finished it up and, finished second, third, fourth, didn't qualify. But I'm
Quite
not
an
done.
accomplishment, though.
Well,
Quite
I'm not
an
done.
I know.
I'm going to try. Next year, though, I'm very happy to turn 60 in January, and I'll get to play at the World Golf Teachers Championship, which will be held in Costa Rica as a super senior.
Wow.
They're going to put me up on those fun tees. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
Hey, let me ask you, because I mentioned at the beginning of the program that as a young whippersnapper sportscaster back in 1980, I was really, wet behind the ears, didn't know what I was doing, and went out to Rancho Murrieta in Sacramento and interviewed Arnold Palmer. And here Arnold doesn't know me from an ant crawling across the pavement there, and he gave me 45 minutes of his time. Why do you suspect he did that?
Wow, Arnold, everybody has spoken and said that Arnold Palmer, when you speak to him, when you're in front of him, he treats you like you're the only person he knows. It's amazing. The guy is not normal. I mean, I wish everybody would be that way, but they're not. I mean, I even catch myself sometimes.
But he knew I was young and inexperienced and didn't know a whole lot.
And look where you are now.
And look,
he made you what you are.
I know, and so I wasn't this big network sportscaster, but he gave me the time of. I was just a local yokel trying to get an interview with a famous golfer, but he spent the time.
The nickname is Saint Arnold. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So there you go. He was a saint. The guy he knew how to treat people. And most of us are not like him.
I will tell you this, and I'll make you laugh, because I talked to you about this before the show, and that is Jim Nance, the famous CBS sportscaster,
yes.
Played a round of golf just a few years ago with Arnold at Augusta National, site of the Masters, and they were playing with these 2 other guys. They were paired. They didn't know the guys, and one guy walked up to Arnold. According to Jim Nance, I heard Jim Nance tell the story personally. Jim Nance said this guy didn't know Arnold. He just walked up, and they were playing together, and so they're walking, and they says, "Hey, Arnold, how many Masters did you win around here? You won what, 5, 6 Masters?" Well, Arnie only won 4.
Only?
Only won 4. But imagine what was going through Arnold's mind. Hey, I wish I could have won 6.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? I only won 4. What's the matter? What are you asking me that for?
Yeah,
But Arnold, according to Jim, he didn't get upset. He didn't get riled. He just was as friendly as the day is long. That's Arnold.
It's not easy to be like Arnold, I'm going to tell you.
That's funny.
Be like Arnie would be great. That would be a great saying. Be like Arnie.
But nothing upset him.
And that's why we're talking about him.
Nothing upset him. Even if you insulted him. Did you win 5?
Yeah.
6?
And then was that a double bogey on that hole?
Yeah. Didn't you just get a double, Arnold, on that hole? He just... it's off his shoulder. Who cares?
How many times has he birdied that first hole? I'll bet
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Or maybe even eagled it. Who knows? I don't know. Jim Perez, owner of Bluff Point Golf Course out there. And quickly, phone number
275-0600.
All right. Go out and see him. He is the man, the golf man, right here in the city of Fresno. Jim Perez, we thank him for his time. This has been a special taped edition of Connect with Me. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Adios, amigo.